Hello, hello. Welcome in. Happy to see you. Glad you're here. Happy Tuesday. If it's your first time, lovely to have you. If you're returning, welcome back. And if you're watching the recording, so glad you found the time to do that. We're going to jump in today by warming up our ears by counting the sounds in played. We're going to start by counting the sounds in played, as in I played pickleball. Put it in the chat for me. Played. Played. Excellent. Okay. All right. In played, we have p, l, a, d. P, l, a, d. 4 sounds in played. This is what it looks like. So that AY is spelling the A sound, and that is how you spell the A sound at the end of words, such as say, may, play, tray. AY is how you spell the A sound at the end of words. Now this word is past tense. That ED is making it happen in the past. We're going to learn all about how to add those suffixes at the end, in September. But for now, that's what's happening. Play is the base word. It ends with that AY sound, spelled AY. And then the D, played. That D sound is spelled with an ED. Those are the 4 sounds in played. ED has 3 different sounds, and we're going to learn that in September as well. September is going to be a big month for learning. Okay, how many sounds are in stopwatch? Compound word, stopwatch. Take your time. Stopwatch. Good, good. Okay, in stopwatch we have s, t, a, p, w, a, ch. Again, s, t, a, p, w, a, ch. 7 sounds. This is what it looks like. So every letter has its own sound until that TCH. That's a trigraph that makes the ch sound. TCH is how you spell the ch sound after a short vowel sound. Like that ah is a short sound, so that you're going to spell the ch sound with a TCH, and that's going to be its own lesson also. But just as a sneak peek, CH and TCH both spell the same sound, but one comes after a short vowel sound, and that's the TCH. Here's some other examples of that. Snatch, pitch, sketch. Those, that ch sound is spelled with a TCH because it comes right after that short vowel sound. Okay? All right. Last one. This one has a tricky one because it has that schwa sound that's hard to hear toward the end. Your word is animal. Animal. Count how many sounds. Good, Sam. Animal. Okay. In animal, we have a, n, I, m, a, o. It's that before the o that's hard to hear. When you stretch it out, say the word slow, you can hear it a little better. Animal. A, n, I, m, a, o. When you practice these, when you practice isolating those sounds, I'd like for you to concentrate on clipping the end of the sound off, making it as tight as possible, so that none of one sound touches another sound. Like for instance, I don't want the sound of I don't want any of that N to come on there. So your tongue shouldn't even move toward the N. So the sound for is not an. Okay, get that tongue off of that N position. Is a. Your tongue is at the bottom of your mouth. N is n with your tongue at the top of the mouth. Don't let your tongue move from one sound toward the next. Clip those sounds off nice and clean. A, n, I, m, a, o. Every time your mouth changes or your tongue moves, the sound changes. So work on that and you will be golden. Here's how you spell it. Every word, every letter has its, good, Anne-Marie. Every letter has a sound. The A is making the schwa sound toward the end. Okay, let's do a little bit of extra practice. Last time we worked on the EI spelling of the E sound. And you're going to use that EI spelling right after a C. Here are some reminder words with that EI coming right after a C. Receive, deceive, conceive. So those three words all have two things in common. First, they have that EI that comes right after a C. And then they also have a VE at the end. I want you to remember those two things when we do these extra practice words, this homework review that you had. So whenever you hear the S sound, whenever you hear an S sound in these 5 words, I want you to spell it with a C. And then you're going to use that EI to spell the E sound after the C. And if you ever encounter a word that ends with a V sound, put a silent T after it. Your first word is be-seep. Be-seep. I'll give you just a couple seconds to put that in the chat if you did it. Be-seep. If you want to, optional. Okay, nice. So here is be-seep. Good, good, good. Excellent. Good job, Nathan. So yeah, that EI is spelling the E sound because it comes right after a C. Number 2. This one's going to have a double C in it. The first C is going to say K. The second C is going to say S. Okay? The first C is going to say K because that's what C almost always says. That second C is going to say S because there's going to be an E after it. Your word is trek seam. Trek seam. Oops, I almost spelled that wrong. Trek seam. Wow, well done. You guys are so gifted at learning this stuff because this is not easy stuff. This is high level. Trek seam. This word is not an easy word. Good. Nice. Good job, Sheldon. Okay, this is trek seam. We have those 2 C's making 2 different sounds, and now you know why. Now you know why when you see a word like this word, eccentric, the first C says K, the second C says S, because of the letters that come right after them. So that is trek seam. We're spelling that E sound with an EI that comes right after an S sound spelled with a C. Number 3, pleasive. Pleasive. Remember what you learned about the V sound at the end. Pleasive. Excellent. Pleasive. Okay, here it is. I love that you knew that it only needed one E at the beginning to spell that long E sound, because there's another E 1 or 2 doors down. And then that second E sound is going to be spelled with a EI because it comes after a C. And the V has a silent D after it. Well done. That's a lot of rules that you remembered. Excellent. Last one. Nope, number 4. Effi-seam. 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 Brilliant. You guys are amazing. Seriously. Effi-seam. Okay, nice. Here it is. Good. So we have to have those 2 F's so that that first E can say eh. And then the second E, that E sound is spelled with a single E because of the tap-to rule. And then we have that third E sound being spelled with an EI because it comes after an SC. Brilliant. Just for kicks, what would that word have said with only one F? Say it in your mind. Yep, then that word would have had 3 long sounds. E, fee, seam, right? Okay, last one. Seeb. Seeb. Oh, sorry. Let me say that last sound better. Seeb. I'm trying to say the B sound really fast so then doesn't come at the end. Seeb. Seeb. I don't want it Seeba. Seeb. There we go. Okay. Yeah, excellent. Beautiful. Well done. Here it is, spelled with that C at the beginning, and then the EI is spelling the E sound because it comes after a C. If you got one of those right, isn't that wonderful? That's probably something that you couldn't have spelled last week. And now you understand that EI comes after a C, as in receive, conceit, deceive. Otherwise, I before E is going to be a lot more common than E before I. So remember, I before E except after C. That's a pretty consistent pattern. So today we're going to be reviewing a lot of what we've learned about E this month. If it's your first time, hang in there because we do about a month's worth of work with a vowel, and then we break off that vowel and go to a whole new vowel the next month. So since we're at the last, I think one of the 2 last sessions for this month, we're going to be doing a little bit of a review. Other than that, every time you come, you're going to learn a brand new thing right along with the rest of us. So you're never really behind because we learn a new thing every time. Building just a little bit within a month. You have learned that E can make the long sound if it follows the tap-to rule, or it can make the short sound if there's 2 consonants after it. You've also learned that EE comes in short words, like keep or meet. Yeah, good. At the end of longer words, you're going to spell that E sound at the end of longer words with an E consonant silent E, like compete, delete. So EE is in short words. E consonant silent E is at the end of longer words, like compete, delete. Nope, can't think of any others. You'll have to trust me. You've also learned IE can say E. EI can say E. What else have you learned? Oh, you've learned that Y can say E at the end of words. That's how you spell the E sound at the end of most words. Y spells the long E sound at the end of most words. Sometimes at the end, you will see EY, but that's usually after an LL, an N, or a K. Okay, so let's do a little bit of review today. Let me share my screen. All right, let's start with a short word. Your word is phlegm. Phlegm. We're going to do this one together. F-O-E-M. Consonants first. F-O-E-M. Now to spell the E sound, I'm going to start with an E, but that E can't say E in that spot. So it needs another vowel in the next one or two spaces. I could put an E here, but E, consonant silent E, is usually saved for longer words. When it's shorter words, we put those two E's together most of the time. So there is phlegm. Go ahead and you try it. I want your word to be speen. 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 You guys are fast. Okay, we have that consonant blend at the beginning. Sorry to giggle, somebody just put something in the chat that's a little crazy. Okay, speen, we have S, P, E, N. I'm going to start by spelling that E sound with an E, but I can't leave it there because that would say spen. If I want this to say E, there must be another vowel in the next one or two spots. I'm not going to put it here because E, consonant silent E, usually comes at the end of longer words. So I'm going to put it right next to it. Speen. So far, so good. Okay, number 2 is blempy. Blempy. B-O-E-M-P-E. Consonants first. B-O-E-M-P-E. For the I'm going to start with an E. Can that say in that spot? It can because there are two consonants after it. What about the E at the end? Am I going to spell it with an E? No, because E's at the end are usually silent. If you hear E at the end, your best guess, I'm not going to say guess, your best assumption is to spell it with a Y. There is blempy. Blempy. Just for kicks, what if I wanted that word to say blemmy? Blemmy. Can that say blemmy? No, because this E now has a vowel in one or two doors away. In order for this to say it has to have two consonants after it. If there's not two, put two. Okay, your word is Strendy. 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 Make sure that you have the same number of lines as me to get you started on the right foot. Strendy. With a S at the beginning. Strendy. Yeah. Okay. We have a 3-letter consonant blend at the beginning. Stir. Nice. So we have st, I'm saving the vowels for last. I always save the vowels for last because vowels have so many different spellings, as you now know. And in order to determine which letters are going to spell that sound, you have to know what consonants are around it. So we're going to save the vowels for the end. Stir, n, d, e. For the I'm going to use the e just fine. 2 consonants after it, so that's perfect. For the e sound at the end, your best assumption is a y. Strendy. That y at the end is going to be more common than you would imagine. That's a really, really most of the time rule. Y at the end spells e. Okay, number 3. So before I do number 3, I want to set you up for success. We spelled this e sound with a double e because it's in a short word. If it were in a longer word, meaning more than one syllable. And to know if it's more than one syllable, there's going to be more than one vowel sound that aren't touching. So if, for instance, if the word was spendy, what do I want? I'm gonna pretend that this word is S-pen. I want this word to be S-peeny. No, I want this word to be S-peen. S-peen. So now I see that there are 2 vowels that don't touch. So it's at least a 2-syllable word. And if I want this E sound at the end, my choices are 2 E's close together or another E 2 doors away. I'm going to do this one because it's a longer word. So that was a long explanation for this goes in short words, this goes in longer words. E in 1-syllable words, E consonant E at the end of multi-syllable words. So your word is e-meat. E-meat. E-m-e-t. So I can see how many syllables are there. There's 2 vowels that don't touch, so I know it's a 2-syllable word. Nice. So I'm going to put my consonants in first. E-meat. This E I can spell with an E just fine. A single vowel is all I need because there's another vowel already 2 doors away. This E cannot spell E in this spot because there's not another vowel in the next 1 or 2 places. So if there's not one, I have to add one. I'm not going to put one right next to it because that's saved for single syllable words. I'm going to put the E consonant silent E at the end. I'm not going to put that E on its own line because lines are for sounds. Okay, it's super important. So that E is just going to share that spot right there. E-meat. There it is. Your word is e-peem. 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 Good. Nice. EPEEM. You guys are good spellers. All right, so for EPEEM, with my mouth closed at the end, EPEEM, making that M sound at the end. I know it's hard to hear on the mic. I'm going to start with my consonants, E, P, E, M. If you happened to hear an N right there, that was my fault, not yours. If you heard an N and spelled it with an N, that's fine. I'm going to start spelling the E sound with an E. Can I stop there? I can, because there's a vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. For this E sound, and if I want it to say E, it has to have another vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. I could put one here, but that is for single syllable words. This word has more than 1 syllable. I can tell because there are 2 vowels that don't touch. So I'm going to use this longer pattern, E, consonant, silent E. There is EPEEM. Okay, last one. Well, maybe not, we'll see. This one's gonna be hard. Just a heads up. Remember about that EI comes after a C thing. And I want you to spell the S sound with a C in this word. Pleasimpe. Pleasimpe. I'm not going to do this one for you. I'm going to wait and have you try it. Pleasimpe. You're amazing. That's incredible. Wow. Please seem, with my mouth closed, please seem P. Seriously, that's incredible. Please seem P. I mean, I knew you guys were good, but didn't expect you to be performing at such a high level. Please seem P. Beautiful. Okay. For please seem P, we have P, O, E. I'm going to spell the S sound with a C. E, M, P, E. I'm going to spell that first sound. And I might not have said this clearly enough. I want you to spell the S sound with a C in this word. So if that changes your answer on what this E sound is, how this E sound is going to be spelled, go back and change it. I want you to spell the S sound with a C in this word. Okay? So this E sound I can spell with a single E because there's another vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. This E sound I'm going to spell with an EI because that's how you spell the E sound after a C. And then we have, oh, I forgot my consonant there. And then Y at the end is how you spell the E sound at the end of most words. Pleasimpe. Pleasimpe. All right. How do you tell when to use a C or an S? Oh, that's a good question. I am not sure. Let me write that down and do a little research. I've checked into that in the past. When to spell a C versus an S. The easy answer is you're going to use a C if the next letter is an E, I, or Y, but that's not always the case. There are a few exceptions. So I'm going to do a little more research on that, and then I'm going to get back to you on that because that's such a brilliant question. It deserves an answer. Would you please put one word in the chat on how you feel after today's little review lesson? How do you feel after today's review? Even if it was your first time and you're like, review, this is my first attempt. How are you? Happy with lots of Y's. That's nice. Oh, I like the great. Good, good. Your excitement makes me excited. I love watching that progress. Beautiful. What if you are feeling frustrated or defeated? Let me know. If you are feeling like, ugh, I'm just not getting it, let me know, okay? Send me an email or here is my email. And then I will find out what I can do to help you better. So even though a lot of people are putting good, good, good in the chat, if you're feeling not so good, it is not just you. Other people who aren't doing good might just not be putting that in the chat. Let me know in an email and I'll see what I can do to help you. All right, you're amazing. Keep being amazing. We'll see you Thursday and have a good night. Bye-bye.